What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sideline Summit. I'm Antonio Perez, joined as always by Chris Coacher CB. Coacher Boy Danny will be here very shortly. He was kind of running behind on some, but no big deal. We got to get started. Duty calls. But today, talking round of 64, round of 32, March Madness. Awesome weekend of basketball. And we're also going to get into a little bit of a recap of Sweet 16 games we're looking forward to and whatnot. But of course, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review. Chris, get us started with Summits and Plummets, even though it's pretty obvious. It's very obvious.
That LeBron has one more year. No,
True, true, true.
that is actually a good one. But my summit, I got engaged over the weekend, which is really fun. The whole timing, everything was really fun. I've been planning for a long time, so it was cool to see that everything pretty much went how I wanted it to for the most part. Uh, yeah, so that's my summit, a double summit, and it involves a summit. For little people who know, that was me, Danny, and Tom's first time meeting in real life. So the chemistry you see here is all from the internet. And then we just got together to Aura Farm in real life. So now it's gonna probably get better because all we did was Aura Farm. And but yeah, that was a summit too, because it was really cool. I was looking forward to meeting him in real life. And yeah, bro, just it was a great time, a great weekend. My family was here. Um, Her family was here. It was really good. A lot of people. I think Danny said. I think Tone said something about it, but I said it too. I was like, yeah, at least about 30-40% of our likes are in this room right now. Like our faithful likers, they're in this room right now. So that was
Yeah, yeah,
fun. So I had a really fun weekend.
yeah. No, it was great, and it was also even beside obviously meeting Chris, highlight of the weekend going to Dallas just for that, being able to start putting names to faces like when Chris is talking about he's like, "Oh, my buddy Terrence." I'm like, "Oh, this is Terrence." It's like, me and all like, "Oh, this person liked the post. Oh, that's him." Like, so it was really cool. Like I literally said it when Terrence introduces. He was like, "I'm Terrence." I'm like, "Oh, you're the Terrence." So yeah, it was great. I mean, they all great people. Food was great. Shout out moms. You
Tone
know,
Haitian mac and cheese
sh-
and buffalo
sh-
dip. He told me. He said
sh-
that was the combo, and I didn't even.
that
I
was the
have some.
combo. Shout
I'm
out
trying.
Wingstop.
I'm trying to
Shout out Wingstop. But yeah, man, it was a great weekend. Shout out the taco stand, that California burrito they have. I'm never gonna have anything like it again, sadly. Uh yeah, food was great. Did a lot of sightseeing and whatnot. It was incredible. And then obviously along with that was, you know, we were doing nothing down there except watching March. So I mean, we could just start off warm up. Favorite game from the weekend. What did you like?
I gotta say, it was that High Point game. High Point in Wisconsin. I think, I mean, halfway because I called the upset and I kind of was hype about that. I wanted the victory lap, but it was cool to see because every year in March Madness, bro, it's always somebody who amazes, right? Like, or they show a crazy skill they have, whether it's shooting deep threes or making random hook shots or having a weird form and being able to make their shots. It's always something every March Madness, and High Point has that. Let me make sure I say his name correctly. Chase Johnston. Yes, that's his name, bro. He anybody who plays basketball knows it's easy to shoot catch and shoot shots, right? Easiest. Like if you're gonna do catch and shoots, it's easiest. Not from 35 feet. That shot's never easy. Like it's never easy. Or in transition to come up and shoot 35-foot pull-ups, bro. It was so amazing to see. And a lot of it is just the wow factor. And I think the wow factor of it is kind of what led to Wisconsin's loss because no matter how much your coach preaches it or how much as a basketball player, you kind of want to not react to it. You're human, so you're going to. So him shooting those deep shots opens that up for everybody else on the team to be able to get layups that he won't take. First 2 point shot of the season happened in that game. I mean 2 point make of the season happened in that game. So just him having the ability to shoot like that. Like think about having prime Steph in college. You're always going to be thinking about that. And I'm not saying he's that caliber shooter, but just the shot taking, it changes your defense. It changes how you play. It changes how you get back in transition. You're taught to run to the basket. Obviously in the NBA, now, and the college is kind of taught now you want to spread to the corner, so that's where a lot of threes come. But bro, he's shooting those 35 footers from the front of the court. So I think it was just dope to see that that style really made the fight in that sense, and they were able to squeak out a win against Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely called it. And I picked it in my bracket too. I was like, it sucks because Wisconsin had an incredible season, but this is just such a bad draw. But um, you know, the, Arkansas definitely had their hands full with them the next round, very much so. But nothing that Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff couldn't handle. So they're moving on. I think my favorite game, I'll probably have a favorite round of 64, favorite round of 32 game. Obviously, my favorite round of 64 was Kentucky and Santa Clara. Um, Otega Owe, Muhammad Diabate, they had incredible games along with Aberdeen. I think Aberdeen made 4 threes in this game. It was incredible. Obviously, that ending where we thought Graves put the game away, and then uh, Owe chucks up a 40, 50 footer and makes it, and we're going to overtime. It was a really good game, and you just feel the tide swinging back and forth through, at the end of the game. So also shout out Elijah Mahi. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, but he had a nice little 20 piece. He was strong for Santa Clara as well. So that was a pretty good one. And obviously, my favorite round of 32, it was Iowa and Florida. Obviously, Florida had the size mismatch, but then you go watch this game. The announcer said it perfectly. If these two were getting a rock fight, you would never expect that it's Iowa that's dominating the interior, getting their bigs in foul trouble, but they did it. They got Florida's bigs in foul trouble. They were very effective inside the arc. Bennett Sturt's a guy who I stuck my neck out for, went 0 for 9 from 3, but otherwise he was killing inside the arc. The float game was very strong. The layups was very strong. Welcome in Danny for a second, and I'm gonna finish a spill, and then we'll get to Danny. Uh, But I mean, you just talk about a guy. This is what I was talking about with Bennett Sturts, where this is a guy I feel like can truly run us an NBA second unit, and of course at the college level he can run a first unit down the stretch. That inbound play that they ran to win the game was beautiful, absolutely on the money, leading him up court outside the hands of I think Boogie Flan was on him. Gets it pushed down court, three, all good. I mean it was just such a great game, and Xavier Lee was honestly strong for most of the game. He got their offense going at first when it couldn't get off the ground, and Iowa was killing it. Um, but that last play, you have to get a shot up, man. You have to get a shot up. It's hard to see their season go down like that. But shout out to Coach McCullum because man, he's doing great things with Iowa, and they're going to the Sweet 16 just like I predicted. Danny, we're talking, favorite games from the weekend so far, but if you just wanted to talk about, could you give me like your favorite thing from Dallas this weekend?
You know, I think it's going to be the thrift shop we went to. Good find, Vagabond. It's got to be
Yeah.
that or Chris Sidecar. It's the one.
Yeah, that is
Very fun.
Like for context, this is what Buffalo Wild Wings should be. Big
Yes.
screens everywhere with sports for whatever reason. There's like arcade basketball shooting, which you don't got to pay for, by the way. But like you could low-key just go in there, go to the back, and if you just want to get shots up, work on your game. If you really just want to work on your game, yeah. But I agree.
And
Danny,
in the summertime when it starts, they have like what's it called? I think it's called cornhole. We can like throw the like little bean
Yeah.
bags. So they have that, and then like across, since they have like the little Cowboys like facility across, like usually outside when it's hot, you could throw like footballs and stuff. They have a bunch of those outside. You just go play catch with your friends, bro. So a really, really, like you said, if Buffalo Wild Wings had any sense, they would take a couple pages out the book and just literally turn up a little bit.
Danny,
Yeah.
Chris just gave his favorite game of the weekend. He said High Point, Wisconsin. I gave a round of 64 and 32 game. So you're free to do that. But what were some of your top games this weekend?
Yeah, I think my favorite game this past weekend, honestly, was the Vanderbilt versus Nebraska game.
Ooh, it's
It,
pain, bro.
It's so much pain, but this is what March is about. It's about taking a game-winning shot. So I'm gonna go 2 games from this actual weekend. That game with the game-winning shot that didn't go in. I mean, it's really infamous at this point. Gordon Hayward 2.0. The other game that I really love with that St. John's game. Not only am I a hater on that team, but I love Coach. I love Coach at St. John's. He really the OG.
He takes them to strip clubs and casinos. Dude,
He might do that, like Drake said.
He does do that on that album.
Not in real life, not in just the album. But that game was actually peak. Having a walk-off buzzer beater in March Madness is something that March Madness is all about. And the way that I'm going to say St. John's didn't blink. Everything happened down the stretch. They were just sitting there like, we're good. They weren't afraid of Darren Peterson coming out and walking them down. They knew what they were doing. And shout out to them. We're going to see a good matchup in the Sweet 16.
It's pretty funny because Danny, we were getting coffee or whatever. We were talking about who Kansas may be potentially playing in the Sweet 16. I said, hold on now. I was like, they playing St. John's, ain't they? And Danny was like, he was like, they're gonna take care of them. I was like, it's not gonna be easy. But the really bad one is where you said Tech was gonna destroy Alabama. And I said that's not happening. And Alabama destroyed Texas Tech.
Alabama's still losing.
Hey, it is what it is. Hey, if you have them losing to Michigan, I am not at all, threatened. I do have Alabama going to the Final Four, though. But that was before the Aiden Holloway news, so I do feel a little dumb. But I'm going to stand on it. It's not what you could do. One more game I really did like, and I don't think the final score reflected, was Akron, Texas Tech. I mean, those two teams were absolutely lighting it up. Like NBA level game with how many threes they were getting up. Donovan Atwell was amazing for Texas Tech. He was just absolutely letting it fly. They said like a funny thing, like he only shot like 78 free throws on the year, but he caught up like 200 threes or whatever. Like it was hilarious. But he was incredible, of course. Shout out to Scott, I think his name. Yeah, Shamsa Scott for Akron. He was playing great. Amani Lyles was playing great as well for Akron. Tavani Johnson did not show up, flat out did not show up. Actually, this will just. I'm gonna stop rambling. What team disappointed you the most from this weekend?
Florida.
That's an easy answer. Yeah.
And I know
that's my biggest. That's my biggest. Hate watch. I love hating Florida.
Well, I think for me, it's just not even because they were number one seed. It's just they had big transfer moves. They had a really good season. Everything lined up for them to be great. They didn't have the hardest bracket of the number one seeds, in my opinion. They had a way where if you can get past maybe two and a half good teams, you can find yourself in the Final Four, at least the Elite Eight. I think they kind of just fumbled a chance away to get another national championship. So I think that's why a disappointment. And you can say a lot of teams, but I think for me, I'd say them just because it seemed like all lined up. Because sometimes you look at a number one seed's path, you're like, damn, they might as well have been an 8th seed. Because they have so many hard games they have to play. I didn't feel like Florida had too many crazy tough games ahead of them. Had they been winning out, and they could have had a really good chance to get into the Elite Eight unscathed. So I think they kind of fumbled away a big chance.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. One side is me, one man's incredible upset pick, predicting Iowa to go to the Sweet 16. And on the other half of that is someone's bracket is done. Absolutely done. Look, your bracket isn't a failure until your champion loses because no one's going to have a perfect bracket. But your champ losing in the Sweet 16 is tough. It's very tough. Danny, what about you? What about you? What team disappointed you the most? This weekend.
Maybe it's not disappointed me, but I do think that um team it's not what the hell's the team?
What day are you thinking? What team did they play?
Oh, Santa Clara. The way that Santa Clara went out against Kentucky.
Yeah,
Look,
you could
the
say the
shot was
overtime was kind
crazy.
of weak.
Like, it's not even about that. I think that they were one of those Cinderella potential runs, and then obviously Kentucky got handled in the next round. And look, Santa Clara might have got handled by Iowa State, but I think that if there was a team that was like a really low seed, like a 10 seed, that could went on a run, it was Santa Clara because they had that like the juice.
Yeah, not mad at that pick at all. Um, it looks like we lost connection to Chris. I'm sure he'll be back in a moment, so I'll just keep the ball rolling with my pick. Um, yeah, I mean, biggest disappointment of the weekend for me. I don't want to put too much on like a an 11 seed, but like yeah, USF absolutely disappointed me. I had them going to the Sweet 16. Bare minimum, I thought they were definitely going to take care of business against Louisville. Um, and then, Pinion played a great game. He was absolutely letting it fly. Don't let the shooting percentages distract you on the game he played. Um, but you look at Wes Enos. He was a guy, he was my favorite player on the team, and then he shot I think 0 for 12 from three on the game. He didn't make a single three. He finished with I think like 4 points, something like that. So it was an incredibly tough watch. I had high expectations for this team. Two of the three guys that I expected to play great came through, and Isaiah Nelson and Joseph Pinion, but Wes Enos kind of let his team down in a tremendous way. So it was tough to see. I think another team that kind of let me down, um, and has been letting AJ DeBansta down all year is BYU. I know a lot of people picked them to make deep runs, including myself. I had them going to the Elite Eight before losing to Arizona, but the team just wasn't strong outside of AJ. I think they might have been even a little overseeded because of AJ. But shout out Texas though. Texas, they're making themselves a nice little run. Um, Definitely can't be mad at that. I'm always love to see an 11 seed win, even if I don't exactly like the school. But that's more of a football thing. So um, I'm trying to think if there's any big disappointments, any other big disappointments. Um, and just because someone loses in my bracket doesn't make him disappointing. Let's think. A little disappointed in A&M, I would say, with the Houston game. I didn't expect them to win. And maybe I did expect them to get blown out like that, but it's just like the level of athletes that A&M supposed to have just got like completely like washed out of the game. Like Rashawn Agee, I did not feel his presence made on this game. A&M shooters were getting frustrated. Like that's a like people talk about like a real thing of like other teams, the way they play, they want to get you frustrated and whatnot. Houston, there was a possession where Houston got like 4 offensive rebounds. Through the first like 5 minutes of the game, they took 10 more shots than A&M. They were just dominating them. They made their athletes look so very inferior, and A&M had some of the best athletes in the country, and they couldn't compete. And shout out to you know Coach Sampson. He There was a play where like Flemings didn't make like a rotation correctly, and he lit into him, and that's exactly why Houston, in my opinion, is going to make it out of that side of the bracket to go face Arizona. They're just so overly prepared defensively. They're so strong. Just a really good win for them. To they took care of business in both of their games. They're probably going to be one of the most well rested teams heading into the Sweet 16, alongside like Arizona maybe. But yeah, um,
Coaching matters in college basketball, dude. It
oh yeah,
matters. And Kelvin
oh yeah.
Sampson is top three coach, regardless of stats and championships. He's top three coach, leader of men, young men at that. And to your point, holding players accountable is so important, especially in a place like the NCAA tournament where again, the human element comes in. No matter how poised you are, at some point you're going to make a mistake or you're going to probably do too much trying to prove yourself. So having a coach who can not only, calm you down, but also light a fire under you if you need to, and to know when to do so, to know when to pull my fresh to the side and go off on them a little bit, even if it's in front of everybody. Like knowing the character of your guys, I think that goes so much farther than having talent. Like not in the NBA. NBA, everybody's ultra talented, or at least they should be. This is the highest competitive level of basketball. College basketball, it's a little bit different. So I agree with that point.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree. And Bucky McMillan is not a bad coach by any stretch of the
Very
imagination,
good.
but this is a great game that shows you levels. So, um, try to look through some other games. Tennessee Virginia was amazing. That was a great game. UCLA UConn. I actually didn't catch the second half of that one, but it does look like UConn pulled away. I know it was really good in the first half though. Um, just seems like Dan Hurley did his thing. I know a lot of people had UCLA probably making a long run. Surely I didn't do that. Surely.
Nope.
Um,
Nope.
I totally didn't do that.
You really did.
But as much as I had to say, like when Danny was talking about he thought Texas Tech would roll Alabama, I was like, no, I think the opposite's going to happen. Not roll. I thought Bama was going to win. Bama rolled them. Like Bama put up 90 points. And that's one of the things with Alabama that I think makes them so scary. If they're able to dictate the pace of the game from the tip off, I don't know if any team in the country is going to be able to play with their pace. That's what makes them so dangerous because the pace is obviously very unsustainable when you're playing better teams who are looking to slow the game down. If they dictate their pace, Alabama's half court offense isn't exactly the strongest, but when you have guys like Wrightsell, like this is like Philon Jr. went 2 for 12. He went 2 for 8 from 3, but he had 12 assists. He made his impact felt on the game with Wrightsell, Allen, Cheryl. They all had great games as well. But Philon Jr.'s ability to, we could get the ball out in transition. He could run half court offense for them when need be. If he can truly dictate their offense, I think the ceiling for this team could be very high, and that's why I have them going to the Final Four, even if Aiden Holloway wouldn't be playing. In my bracket, I have them beating Michigan this upcoming game. So,
Yep, I got Michigan out this
exciting.
week, this coming game too.
I like Michigan. I think
Yeah.
Yax will make a big impact in this game.
Yax should be in the NBA or trucking business by now, and that's half why I'm rooting against them because no, I'm kidding. But I think Michigan's good though, and I think the thing about Yaxel too, obviously the jokes about his age are always funny, but what's not funny is the poise that comes with that, like being able to calm your team or be able to make a bucket when you need to or know what type of shot you need to get. I think that's gonna, to your point, Danny, that damn near could keep them around longer than people think.
Yeah. And I mentioned something funny to Danny. We were talking about Yaxel, where like there's always those older centers who are, um, people was like, go get a job, you bum. And it's like, true, yes. Those guys always tend to be good NBA players, as long as you know what you're actually looking for. Like Zach Edey was far from a likable dude at Purdue. Let's just be real. But when we all came together and sat at draft time, we were all like, yeah, he could probably go lottery and he could probably be pretty good. He ended up going 8 to the Grizzlies, and while he's been hurt in his second year, he's been a very solid role player in the NBA so far, and probably a guy the Grizzlies are going to, move forward to in the future. The issue is that fans kind of like, oh, he's just tall or he's just older than everybody else. It's like, all right, well, now you're getting compared to Taco Fall, because Taco Fall was a guy who, yes, he was tall and he was older and he wasn't dominant. I think he might have made all conference team, like second team his senior year or something like that, but he just wasn't a strong player. That's the difference. Like you can tell when a guy is going to be good, and we're going to do the same thing with Yaxel. We may hate him now. We're going to come around to draft time. We're like, if a good team has like an end of lottery pick, or if the Spurs don't really feel like paying Luke Cornett and they want a real good backup center, like it's things like that. So yes, he does need to go get a job, but it's not going to be LinkedIn. He's unfortunately going to be a multimillionaire. But yeah, let's talk about this Sweet 16, guys. We have just some incredible games. I'm so stoked. Here's Thursday. Let's talk are
Opening day
obviously
in the MLB, by the way. I don't know which one we'll be watching.
this is why I have a computer and a TV. This is why I have a phone with Hulu.
I
The
know why.
great thing about it is I don't have to choose. I choose both.
Multicast.
Exactly. So, yeah. What a time! Like what a time! Madness, baseball, no football to ruin my mood ever.
Madness and badness.
That's what I'm about to say. Madness and badness.
Combination.
Combination. So
Combination.
let's start in this East region. Duke versus St. John's, and then we got Michigan State versus UConn. This is going to be so fun. Chris, what are you looking for in that Duke versus St. John's game?
Please, St. John's, take it easy, brothers.
That's on Friday, right?
Take it easy.
That is Friday. Well, I was gonna go by day, but now I'm going by region, so we'll just go by region.
Take it easy and relax, bro. Don't do it to my people like that, bro. Please. No, I'm looking for a very competitive game. I think pedigree is more of a college football thing than college basketball. But these two programs, when it comes to pedigree, if it does have any type of thing, they have it. They do. And I think what I'm looking forward to is Cam Boo's a bounce back game. I know it sounds weird because he had decent counting stats in the second game.
Siena, he had 22 and 13. TCU, he had 19 and 11. Well, he was good against TCU, but Siena was.
TCU game looked good. Siena was not good. It just was good counter attacks. He's just better. He's just better at basketball than those players are. I'm looking for him to have a dominant showing because the more A Cup dominates, the more you see him moving up into the top 3 in people's. I call it hot take draft boards because everybody after every game somebody's going to move up, move back farther. I think just to kill some of the doubt. I think he needs to have a big showing. His brother actually saved him against TCU. He actually did. I mean, against Siena, I'm sorry. He actually saved him. And I was lower on Caden Boozer than I was on Cam Boozer, but he had a really, really good game. So I'm looking for a Cam Boozer game, but also as I say that, it needs to be a collective effort. You need Isaiah Evans to be shooting the ball well. You need Caden Boozer to be running the show well. You need Dame Sarr at the rim. Dame Sarr is such a good shot blocker. If he was 6'11", he would probably be top 5 in this draft. But he's not. He's a shot blocking forward, but he's really, really good. You're going to need that type of defense because St. John's is relentless. They're going to attack the rim. They're going to try to get – I wouldn't even say get good shots. They're going to get shots up, and they're going to play really hard, really tough defense. So I'm looking forward to be a dogfight. But I'm looking for Cam Boozer to show why he's the best prospect in this game and solidify himself in everybody's eyes or most people's eyes that matter as a top 3 prospect in this draft.
Yeah, I love that for Boozer. I think personally, I agree with you, Chris. He needs to come out and show that. I think there's an infatuation with guards as well. You see cool guard with aura that you want to, I could build a franchise around. It's I don't know. The less fun pick would be Boozer because he's just a bruiser who plays solid basketball and he'll give you 30 solid minutes of probably 18 and 9. So you're getting a plug and play player in Boozer where you're getting a dude who's going to go drop 35 in your head once a week.
I think Boozer's a little late in the sense of had this been 9 years ago, he's the number 1 pick without question because we're cool with that.
He's trying Paul Millsap,
undersized big guy. They were cool with that. Now it's you either want the tall athletic wing or you want athletic guard who can kick his own shot. Those tweener bigs are getting lost in between. Pascal Siakam is trying to save that lane of player because Pascal's not Jalen Johnson. He's not Paolo. You know what I mean? He's like a slasher, but he's not super athletic, not a super good ball handler, not a super good playmaker. I think Boozer's in that mold. It looks a little different, but I think Boozer can be the guy to, kind of save it as well, like Pascal is, because that type of big's being phased out, I feel like.
I agree with that. Look, he could be a Pascal, but he could also be Obi Toppin.
Yeah, it's your mind, man. Now I'm drawing a line. I was on mute for a long time. I'm drawing a line. Cam Boozer's going to be a good-ass NBA player.
I think so.
I'm just gonna call that what it is. I think what a lot of people chalk it up is like the first time that Siena game was the first time a lot of people even watched Cam Boozer play this year, and then just walked away with he's a passive, bruiser who can't shoot, which is just so untrue. He even said it himself. He had to put him he had to tell people himself. He said, I shot 45% from three in high school. I'm shooting 38% from three this year. The idea that I can't stretch the floor is crazy. And also, I think he's an underrated downhill ability. It's a big guy. Yeah, he doesn't have LeBron's speed, but you'd be damned to get in his way. And I think it's funny because this is an issue Paolo used to deal with. I don't think Paolo has this issue anymore because Paolo's just kind of said, screw it. I'm going in there. I'm getting hacked. I'm making it or missing it. Boozer has always had that mentality. It's never really mid-rangers with Boozer. He's going to either catch and shoot, which he's going to have more of those opportunities in NBA spacing, or he's going to be able to get downhill. He's been able to show that he can get to the basket off the dribble and get around people. There in the UNC game with the game on the line, he cruises to the basket. He smoked the layup, unfortunately, but he cruised to the basket so easily. So I don't know. I think people are just this is the time where, again, I am not here to proclaim I am a college basketball junkie. I'm no casual, though.
That's fair.
Not hearing it depends who gets the third pick. It really does. But I think it would have to be a really rare situation for someone to draft Acuff over Boozer.
But you know
what this does feel like? You know what this does feel like? Just a little bit. And, of course, this is hindsight. You know what it does feel like a little bit, though? Fultz and Tatum. A little bit, where Fultz was the star guard. He averaged 20 in college. He was absolutely amazing. Tatum was like he's going to be like a good NBA player. He played at Duke, had success at Duke. And that's not me saying these are the same players. Acuff's, of course, a better shooter than Fultz was. Just a better all-around scorer than Fultz was. And Tatum and Boozer have their differences, but I don't know. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit. Just the situation, not the players exactly.
Whatever you think about this, though, that's the problem. Whatever you think about this, it doesn't even matter. If you think that Cam Boozer should go above AJ DeMonsta, which some people do, you're just dead wrong.
I think see, and that's where I think you're wrong. I think Boozer is very much in the category of DeBanson Peterson.
But only reason I say that, because the point I was making with Danny is NBA preference, right? It's not even just about how good Boozer is. I think Boozer's probably next to DeBanson the most skilled at the top of the draft. I think he's the most skilled, but it's NBA preference. He's too small to be a center in the NBA. Is what's going to be said. I'm not saying that. He's too small to be a center in the NBA. He's not quick enough to guard the Jalen Johnson, Siakams, the Paolo, the ones that we're talking about now is what they're going to say. So it's to your point, and the one thing about Tatum, that was just idiotic. Jason Tatum was showing you at Chaminade that he was going to be a 3-level scorer at the NBA level. Not you, obviously, but people chose to ignore that because he went to Duke. They chose to try to put him in another category because he went to Duke. That was idiotic on their part. But with Cam, and it's too, I think for me personally, I would take Cam over Peterson all day. With me personally, I would. Because I think, to Danny's point, you can have a solid big man, 18-9, rather than you can probably go find another scorer anywhere. It's in my mind.
I said this the other day. You can get Quentin Grimes off the bench to drop 20 points if you're in the volume.
And Darren Priest could easily be a Quentin Grimes. You know what I mean? So I think in NBA is just what their preference is. I think it's hard pressed for somebody to pass on 6'9" athletic with the motor that DeMonta has. But I think after one, in my opinion, especially if it's the Kings or something, where you want stability, you need somebody who's going to be stable and you know what you're going to get out of him every night. I would lean more Boozer than I would to a Peterson or whoever else would be left if DeMonta was to go first. I think
even with triple bigs that they got it rocking over there already.
Sabonis needs to go. And Raynaud, I think Raynaud and Boozer, if that's going to be what you move forward with Caldwell behind it, you can fill out around them because Boozer's been a contributor to winning for a long time at the 5 or the 4. Raynaud is really, really solid at what he does. Then you can fill out what we're talking about. You can find guards quicker than you can find really, really good bigs. You can find serviceable bigs, but you can find explosive guards very easily, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then my other point, if most of the comparisons are DeBanson, Peterson, but when we're talking DeBanson and Boozer, let's imagine just for a second that they do switch roles. I am in no way saying Cam Boozer would lead the nation in scoring, because that's kind of just not the player he is. But yeah, if DeBanstedt went to Duke, he's probably taking that scoring down to from 25 to like 21 ish. And then he has better teammates around him to really fully flesh out his playmaking abilities, which were not fully on display because BYU stinks. And a lot of people are just going to look at his assist to turnovers and look at his stocks, and it's like, dude, he's playing with you, me, and the cashier at McDonald's. Like, these dudes aren't good. Debansa even bringing them to the tournament is incredible. But with Boozer, again, this is something that dates back just to Boozer's DNA, which he's always been a winner. Him and his brother have always been winners. They don't lose. And he always does the right thing for winning. And you cannot go to Duke and not have that in your system. Cooper Flag always does what it takes to win.
They wouldn't hate him at Florida because they want to hate Duke. They want to have a bad guy at Duke, and they don't have one. So they're going to bag on how the small imperfections of Cam Boozer's game, when I think it's literally just because of where he is. If he was at another school, they'd be gassing up how he's so consistent, his double-doubles, he can pass out the post, he can shoot the mid-range. They would gas up the things they try to downplay. It's so disgusting.
Like they gassed up Luka Garza. They love Luka Garza, but the moment it's a guy who's even younger, shoots even better, defends even better, and he goes to Duke, so it doesn't matter. But nonetheless, we spent way too much time on Duke, and we didn't really say anything about St. John's. But St. John's is going to bring their A game as always.
How Ian Jackson back home in New York. That's what I'm happy with. Well, I know you're not playing New York, but him being in St. John's is big for him being back home. So I'm looking for a big game out of him too, because when he went to UNC, he didn't get off to a great start, transferred. I'm looking for him to have a big game too.
Yeah, and the next game in this region is Michigan State versus UConn. Like, we're gonna have Terrace Reed Jr. versus Jeremiah Fears. We're gonna have Silas Damari versus Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper, Alex Carabin. Like, oh, this could be game of the weekend. This could be the best game in the Sweet 16, realistically. Excited to see how these two coaches go at it. These are I find this funny. These are two teams who are like blue buds, but no. It's like a lot of people, like I know a lot of Michigan State fans push that their Michigan State team, that Michigan State basketball is blue blood. UConn is kind of like a baby blue blood, but I will get into all the specifics of that. Who do you guys have winning this one?
No, I have UConn. I think I had UConn going to the Final Four from the jump, and maybe that's why. Maybe that's a little bit of bias, I think. But the other part of me is this is a very high seed. This is with a great coach, experience, and young talent that if they can play to their peak, they will win the tournament. They have not played up to their highest potential during the regular season, and this just proves how good UConn is because they're still the 2 seed. I think they should handle Michigan State and move on to the Elite Eight pretty easily.
Easily is a strong tone. Easily is a strong tone, but maybe they do because UConn does turn it to a different level at this time of year. So maybe you're right, but
yeah, I mean they've covered their spread in like 15 or less 16 games. I think against Furman was the first time they haven't covered. They definitely covered against UCLA.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I give Jeremiah Fears a little bit more credit than getting blown out. Of course, you have Kohler, Cooper, Carr, but I will. I'm gonna go Michigan State. Actually, I'm gonna go Michigan State just to go against the grain. I like their shooting, like their athleticism.
How do you feel about Cam Ward, not the quarterback?
Cam Ward, not the quarterback. I mean, I don't even know how much time he's gonna get in this one, to be honest. But probably won't get a lot. The rotations are just going to get shorter and shorter and uglier from here. So,
yeah.
Chris, who do you have for Michigan State UConn before we move to the next region?
I think Michigan State beats UConn. I think Michigan State wins. Speaking of fears, it's another fears coming up. They have a younger brother. He lives in Bolingbrook, just like they did, and he's actually pretty good too. He's on the way. But Jeremy Fears and Cohen Carr, I think, changes this game. Cohen Carr is the best athlete I've seen since Russell Westbrook. Maybe I can't say LeBron because he was after Russ, but Lord Jesus, Cohen Carr is a guy who can change the game on both ends of the court without even scoring more than 10 points and without even getting more than two stocks. Like he's a type of athlete that can literally change how the NCAA tournament is. And I think UConn hasn't played many athletes like that this year. They've been able to just play solid basketball without a real disruptor out there. And I think having Cohen Carr, Jeremy Fears, Jackson Kohler, I think the names are something you're going to learn, but their play and how they play, I think, can change this game. So I have Michigan State being UConn in a really close one. I think it's going to be really, really competitive. There's going to be some up and down moments, but also some slow down moments as well on the court. But yeah, I got Michigan State winning a close one.
Yep. No. Let's move to the next. We'll scroll down. It's going to be Iowa, Nebraska. Good Big Ten rock fight. I'm down. But I'm gonna go Iowa. Maybe that's just been my team so far. They've been my darling. But Bennett Sturt's shooting 0 for 9 from 3. I would be damned if that happened again. Truth be told, he's 3 for 19 in the first 2 games. So I can't see him being held down forever. Nebraska is going to be a big task, but I think something that could play in Iowa's favor this late in the tournament. This is a familiar opponent. They're going to play a similar style, a similar pace. Looking back at their earlier matchup in the year, Iowa beat them 57-52. And is that the only time they saw each other? I believe so. Oh, no. Yeah, no. That's the one time. The 2 time. Sorry. February 17th, Iowa beat Nebraska 57-52. Later down the road in March, Nebraska won in overtime 84-75. So these teams split the deficit. They are very much familiar with each other. So third time around the block, it's kind of just going to be about who can, I guess, who's going to have the better players, who's going to have the better guy down the stretch to take them home. And I believe in Sturtz. So I'm going to go with Iowa here.
I don't hate the Iowa pick. It is a bit painful because Penn's coach Brand McCaffrey left Iowa after being there for the last 15 years. And immediately Iowa just Elite 8 run.
Brutal. Brutal.
Feel for him. At least you're not Mark Pugh. Could be worse.
I guess it's my turn, huh? Well, I actually think Virginia should have lost a long time ago. All they do in the championship games or the tourney games is choke. So I'm picking Iowa to win too. Even though, I think Iowa's just a better team. I think they have the better players. So I'll keep it short. I got Iowa too.
Yeah. Next game of this region, Illinois, Houston. It's gonna be come on. Flemings versus Wagler. This is gonna be a banger, but no doubt I'm going Houston. I trust the defense. I trust the length, but this is gonna be a really good game.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, like Illinois, like through their okay. I think something that's also on their side, and Houston kind of has the same thing, is Illinois is going to be well rested. They destroyed the first 2 teams they played, so all their top guys are going to have like fresher legs, you could say. And if Baby Stojakovic is going to have like that game he kind of had against VCU, or he might have had against Penn, but whichever one of those first games that he played really good, they can make it interesting. But again, I am going Houston though.
Yeah, I think it's all going to come down to Illinois' big man play, like you said. Not even all of the Balkan big Eastern European players. How can they line up with Houston's bigs? And I think the guard plays might even be a washout with Flemings and Keem Wagler. So it's almost like you want to say, like, what are these bigs going to do? And look, do I believe in Mirkovic and Stojakovic? That man Mirkovic shot 4 of 7 from 3 against Penn. Granted, it's against Penn, but they were letting it fly. And if your centers and your big power forwards are going to come down, walk down the court at 6'10" and shoot damn near 50% from three, it's going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, Houston's one of those bigs that can, like I was saying earlier with Texas A&M, they can get you frustrated if you don't crash that glass, man. They can get you frustrated. Chris, do you when you said really, you think like Houston's gonna like smoke these guys?
Yeah, I think Houston rolls, dog. I think they roll. I think they're too athletic, too tough, too well coached. And I think they just have too much talent at the positions that Illinois does. So I say sometimes Illinois can outmatch teams with talent and kind of just win over like that. But I think Houston at every position where they have their top talent, I think Houston tops them there. So I think they roll. I could be, and now that I said that, Houston's gonna probably lose by 7. But I do think Houston's gonna roll. I do.
You don't like the Eva Six brothers on
No. They'll be good overseas prospects.
really good overseas prospects. They'll go sit in Belgium for like 30 years.
And that's fine. Whatever they're doing, they should not touch my graceful Adam Silver-led NBA. No, I'm kidding. I think they're good. I think they are good. I think they are good. But I just think in this matchup here, like, I just think that they're going to be a little overmatched. I think they're going to do well, but I don't think their impact is going to be felt as it has been in these earlier games and how it has been the Big Ten this year for them. And I think Kingston Fleming has a dominant showing against Wagler.
I think this might be the strangest group of basketball players I've ever seen put on the floor together.
For U of I?
Yeah, especially for that school. Like, you should take a
that
school
is very different. It's NIL coded.
I know it's so random. It's like they went overseas and were like, "Yo,
it's not for real."
Pick. You start picking them out overseas. And
you said conspiracy. You worked. Okay, let's triple that up. Let's see.
It doesn't even make sense. It kind of reminds me of like how baseball teams go down to like the Dominican and Cuba, and they try to like get players to come to America
when they're like 13. But I keep seeing 13-year-olds signing contracts. I'm like, bro, where was I? I was playing the wrong sport.
Dude, there's a 10-year-old. I think the Yankees gave him like $5 million. It's like, how? What?
I should just call my mom right now and say, you made a mistake. I should have been playing Little League baseball.
You should have sent me to Dominican when I was 5.
Literally.
Let's keep it pushing to the next region. We're going to start from the bottom and then work our way up. So Tennessee versus Iowa State. Iowa State gave Kentucky hell. Their defensive presence was strong. Biggest thing for Tennessee is how is Gillespie and Ament going to handle this pressure? Obviously, Ament, the biggest thing coming for him into the season was kind of the same worries you kind of had about Brandon Miller. Can he beat people off the dribble consistently to get to the basket? Those tough shots he's going to try to take, will he make them? Gillespie's been awesome this tournament so far, so this will be a pretty good one, but I'm going to go Iowa State.
I can hardly blame you, man. Iowa State's been one of the best teams in the tournament this year. And I think, like you said, the presence that they bring, they control the pace of play, it seems, and in every game that they've been in. So I think Iowa State also has a firm grasp in this game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I'll make it short and simple. I think Iowa State wins, but I think Nate Ament improves his draft stock more. So I think he has a really good game against a really, really talented team. So
take it. Michigan versus Alabama, a rematch of the 2024 college football playoff first round. Something like that.
Yeah, smoke in the Rose Bowl.
Nah, went to overtime.
It was the game.
Won. They should have won with the last play.
They lost to J.J. McCarthy. That's getting smoked.
That's not getting smoked. He was a good quarterback in college. Oh, yeah, because they totally didn't lose to Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards and Aiden Hutchinson. Or not Aiden Hutchinson, but
they cheated, actually. It's fine.
Really? Right.
They did. Didn't Troy Miller fire? That's not why he got fired. Other guy got fired. Harbaugh
didn't get fired. He left.
Yeah, I guess he was going to get suspended, right?
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It didn't happen. So whatever that may mean. But Alabama, obviously without Aiden Holloway for the moment, probably the whole tournament, if I had to say. But I'm going to put my trust in LeBaron Philon Jr., who is he didn't have that great shooting game last time, but obviously against Hofstra, he was on fire. The next game, the playmaking was really on display. So, yeah, I trust him to have another really solid game against Michigan. I think it was Elliot Cadeau who said, like, oh, they've never played 3 future NBA All-Stars. Don't know who's doing that for Michigan in the NBA, but yeah, I'm gonna go Alabama again. I trust them to control the pace against a Big Ten team, which I've chosen the opposite. Like Iowa, I trusted them to dictate the pace against Florida, but they were able to kind of speed it up a little bit. I'm gonna see if Alabama can speed up Michigan, and I'm gonna take them to move to the Elite Eight.
Michigan. I really like Michigan this year. I think that they were national championship bound from the jump. I like the way their team plays team basketball and how they can get out and run. So I think they can match the play, control the pace of play against Alabama's high flyers, and win the game.
You said Michigan. You like that they can get out and run. If they get out and run, they're gonna lose because if
I like
any
that they
team
can
tries
get out
to
and run if they want, but.
Well, if they do try to do that, they're playing into Alabama's hands and they're going to lose because Alabama's a track team.
I know I said that, albeit that I think they can also control the pace of play and don't need to. It can slow Alabama down.
Let's see what happens. Chris, what about you?
Ugh. Do I go with my heart or do I go with my gut?
When has March Madness ever been logical, man?
Right.
Pick Kemba Walker.
Someone go with something that just doesn't make sense. Do I have
Okay,
to?
here's your pick. Out of everybody on both teams, who is the most tournament made player?
Yaxel.
I would say LeBaron Filan Jr. is more tourney made than him.
Well, honestly, I say Yaxel because I think LeBaron is he's basketball made. Shorty's a killer, and I hate that him and Aiden didn't get a chance to go and show out in this tournament together, dog. It would have been actual. It would have been Shabazz Napier, Kemba Walker level when Shabazz was a sophomore. It would have, I mean, freshman. It would have been that level of guard play. So LeBaron was my choice, but I think Michigan is just too. Oh, it was gonna sound like I was trying to be funny, but they're just too experienced. Like they're very experienced as a team, as a group, as a coaching staff. They're just very experienced. And these are the type of games we have to take advantage when they're missing a star player like Aiden Holloway. So I think Michigan's gonna find a way to come out on top. LeBaron, big game though. Big game low. A very big game low.
I feel betrayed. I'm on y'all when we, as in we Alabama fans, are toting this victory. But no, just kidding. I definitely see y'all path for Michigan. So we'll see what happens. This could very well be the best game of the tournament. Texas Purdue. If you told me, I mean, the way Texas has looked the past 2 games, you definitely kind of see, a path for victory to them if they can kind of get those bigs out on the perimeter and kind of take advantage of them. That's probably their path to victory. Except Purdue kind of just like doesn't let that happen. Braden Smith has been incredible so far. Yeah, I don't know, man. Texas, I think, plays the most Big Ten style of any SEC team, at least in the tournament so far, with their ability to really lock up defensively. But I'm just going to go Purdue. I'm going to trust my gut on this one. I'm going to, like Chris just said on the last one, I'm going to trust the experience. So yeah, give me Purdue. I don't have Zach anymore. I have no hate in my heart. So,
we were talking about this over the weekend. Purdue really just rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is.
Mind you, he's a Miami fan, but Purdue rubs him the wrong way. Like Miami doesn't rub the rest of the country the wrong way.
I don't know. Something about Purdue. Maybe it's the fact that Drew Brees went there. Maybe it's the fact that Carson Edwards went there.
Are you making a case for him or what?
I don't know.
You just said 2 of the most likable dudes ever went there, but I hate them. I hear you.
True American Drew Brees. But no.
True American Carson Edwards. What do you mean?
But he doesn't have the Levi jeans commercial.
True. Chris, who do you have between Texas and Purdue?
I got Purdue. I think Texas did their job making it this far. I know it's no more victories, but they should take them. I think they get rolled. I have two rolling so far, Houston and I have Purdue rolling.
Hey,
In this.
that's Purdue's job. Boilermakers, steamroll.
I don't know, man. I think we see a big game out of Pope. I think Jordan Pope's gonna have a big game, and I think that Texas's like ability from their athletes might take over against Purdue. I think it'll be a closer game than we expect.
I just don't like how you choosing the athletes in some instances and you're not in the other. But I guess, I guess it is kind of 50-50 with that thing. But let's talk about what's going to be. Oh, go ahead.
I feel like sometimes like it's all about matching up. Like,
yeah, duh. That's every single game that's ever been done ever.
Yeah.
But best game of the weekend. Let's not even laugh. Arkansas, Arizona. A-Cup's coming off a heater. Malik Thomas had a really strong game as well. And he had to reiterate to Coach Calipari. He had one turnover, not two. And then Arizona's just been – Utah State tried to give him a little scare at the end of the game, but they've been walking. They've walked Long Island. That's what you're supposed to do as a 1 seed. I'm surprised they didn't put Bryce James in the game. They just been taking care of business. I think this guard matchup of Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley versus Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff is going to be incredible. Chris's guy, Koa Pete, could be the X factor in this one, man. I mean, how he stacks up with like Trevon Brazile, that's going to be huge. But Koa Pete has had a pretty strong last two games. I mean, he had 15 and 7 in 28 minutes. He had 14 and 10 in 32 minutes. Really effective. Got to the foul line, which is also going to be important if he can get Arkansas's bigs into foul trouble. I think that's going to be huge. So yeah, I mean, Arizona's my champ, so I can't have him losing this one, right?
Is Camden High School guard going to make an impact?
DJ Wagner, time will tell. He went from 5-star best player in his class to glue guy, which is
I hate that
fine.
he waited a year late. Should have just left. Because now he's becoming a meme now, but he's actually really good at basketball, and I hate it.
He's gonna make it to the NBA, and just like any other older prospect, he's just gonna fit on a team nicely, and it's gonna be this 5-star. Now he's a glue guy in the NBA. This is why this wasn't how it was supposed to go.
Dreams.
This is not inspirational.
I'm literally sad about it. And his dad,
I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Bro, DeJuan Wagner, his dad scored 100 points in high school a bunch of times. Drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He had to quit because of we had to stop playing because of medical injury. If you haven't never heard of DeJuan Wagner, please watch, bro. Very, very good basketball player. So that's why I love DJ Wagner, because that's his dad. But
DJ Wagner was my first instance of feeling old.
Oh, well, there you go. Good. Welcome.
Even though I was a senior in high school, but sure.
Welcome. But yeah, I think it kind of runs out for Arkansas here, and I think it's because what you talked about a little bit, Tone, the guard battle. That's going to be great, but then after that, I take the rest of Arizona's team like handily over what Arkansas has to put out on the court. Especially, I think Koa Pete has been rolling. He's going to show why he was a 5-star and on all those USA teams, top 7 player in his class all those years, because he's very, 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 very good at basketball. So this is a coming out part of him, a chance for him to get drafted in that late lottery, or because people love potential, get drafted in that late lottery or right after, because of a guy like Kobe who's got the size, speed, athleticism that this NBA is craving right now at that position. So I think he can be a really good X factor. I think he will be, and I think Arizona wins.
Yeah, I think the game's gonna be really close. I do think Arizona wins, but I think Arkansas, if you keep it close and down the stretch, this is going to be two well-coached teams, two teams with a lot of talent, with a lot of NBA talent on both sides. And look, it's going to come down to whoever hits the big shot down the stretch. If you keep it close for Arkansas, there's a good chance that Arizona could just run away with the game. They're going to send two at Acuff. And if no one else steps up and Malik Thomas doesn't step up.
That's the worst part, Danny. I think they send two at Acuff. Malik Thomas steps up still, and they still could lose by double digits. That's how talented this team is overall. And I can see that happening. I wouldn't even be mad I wouldn't be mad, but it's like, damn, bro, this is the tournament part you kind of hate sometimes, because now Acuff and Thomas has had to expend so much energy to get to where they are. The first half, they sent it to it, both of them the whole game. I mean, whole first half, they might be gassed, and Arizona's just sending bodies after bodies after bodies, and it's like you can look up in the first half, it could be 50-34, and that may be too deep of a deficit to crawl out of, and them boys could be having a great game. So I think that's why I think Arizona wins. They just have too much depth at every other position that Arkansas isn't leading in.
Yeah, I'm hearing you out for sure.
Yeah. But that is our weekend 1 recap, Sweet 16 preview. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Audio listeners, leave a like, 5-star review from AP New Freezer, coached by Migos DC Comics. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.